joining us this morning, afternoon, evening, tonight, wherever you're connecting from in the world. It's just so lovely to see you for ISME's first ISME Cafe, which is a safe space, which is a fun space, and we always invite our listeners to join us with a cup of tea or coffee or a drink or whatever you'd like while we sit and unpack some really wonderful ideas through this format of a meeting. Well, I'm Sandra Obroy and I'm co-chair of the ISME Advocacy Committee, and it's a delight to be with you all today for our very special topic, mapping music education and really unpacking strategies on ISME's 6-year strategic plan and beyond. What's special is you all will be invited or are invited to be a part of the dialogue and to see how we can together work towards realizing the strategic plan in the days to come. Just before we jump in, I have a few announcements. This meeting is recorded, as you can see. If you're uncomfortable with your face being shown, just turn off your camera. But otherwise, we'd love to see you. It's just so special that we can see each other despite the distance. We aim at creating a welcoming and inclusive environment through this cafe. What happens is each of the ISME cafes are hosted by different commissions, committees, SIGs of ISME. These are different groups that ISME has, because we understand that we keep this both open for members and non-members. Some of you may be aware of what we have at ISME, these different commissions, committees, and SIGs. Some of you may not, but I'd invite you to then explore what ISME has to offer by clicking on www.isme.org. We accept and honor diverse perspectives through our ISME Cafe. We cultivate a sense of belonging and trust. We cultivate open and honest communication. We foster the health and well-being of all participants. We listen, respond, and disagree respectfully and avoid judgmental statements towards others. Okay, so just as we start off, we're here with 5 extremely wonderful people, and we're so excited they could join us today. They're very, very busy people, but we've caught them at the right time to kick off this year's ISME Cafe. This session is chaired by Susie O'Neill, who is presently the head of Department of Learning and Leadership at UCL's Institute of Education, where she leads this diverse department specializing in primary and early years teacher education, national teacher development, and educational leadership. Her current research includes studies of young people's music engagement and music learning ecologies, intercultural communication and creative practice, and intergenerational multimodal curricula. With Susie here, the president that followed her was Emily Akuno. So she is also here to talk to us. She's Vice Chancellor of Jaramogi Odinga University of Science and Technology. She was past president of ISME and the International Music Council. Her music education and research activities cover relevance of training and education, early childhood music, music education in Kenya, as well as empowerment of youth through creative development. Following Emily, we have Professor Boa Leung, who is a distinguished scholar and music educator, serving as a professor at the Education University of Hong Kong and director of its Research Center for Transmission of Cantonese Opera. Well, just a little while ago, he showed us a very special, you want to show that to us, Boa? Yes, so happy, it's the year of the snake. Happy Chinese New Year. to everyone from here. Oh, two of them. Great. So as you can see, he was explaining to us that that is a character from Cantonese opera, which is where his specialization lies. He's renowned for integrating Cantonese opera into formal music education, and he has received numerous accolades for the same. So we're very happy to have him here as well. Following Professor Boa is Professor Patricia Gonzalez Moreno, who is the present president of ISME, and we're so delighted she's here with us. She is professor of music education at the Autonomous University of Chihuahua, Mexico. And she was a member of the ISME board of directors, and her present research work and publications have focused on areas of educational and music psychology, motivation and creativity, music for social inclusion, music curriculum, and teacher professional development. Moving on, we have our president-elect as well here with us, who just mentioned that she's coming off a busy season of auditions at the Oberlin Conservatory of Music, where she specializes in choral music education as well as secondary school music education. She's the founder and conductor of the Oberlin College Women's Chorale and the Oberlin Music at Grafton Prison Choir. Her research interests include children's responses during music listening, choral music education, empathetic leadership, assessment, teacher identity development, and reflective thinking. So you see, folks, we have such wonderful people here today, and we're so excited that they're going to lead us into dialogue. And I just would like to hand over now to Susie. If at any point in time you feel you'd like to ask them questions about anything, feel free to put it in the chat. We will have time in between to actually, talk to each other as well. But when you find that there's something that inspires you, please use the chat. Let's have fun together. Thank you for joining us this morning, afternoon, evening. Over to you, Susie.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sandra. Thank you for your very generous introduction. It's a grand pleasure to be here with you all today. I see in the room we have, along with many distinguished colleagues and friends, old friends, also some new faces. So you're very welcome. We're really happy to have this opportunity through ISME Cafe. We're each going to take a little bit of time to explain. I'll start off with the start of the 6-year strategic plan for ISME and how we've each picked up the golden thread, if you like, that's run through our presidencies and has really helped to define direction for ISME over the past 6 years and beyond. So we're looking forward to sharing that with you. And again, as Sandra said, we really encourage you to think about any questions or contributions, comments you might like to make, either in the chat or after we each speak, so that we can have a lovely dialogue. We're really keen. I think the most important thing about a strategic plan is that it's a living document. It's not something that we just wrote once and it sits on a shelf and collects dust, or we tick it off the to-do list. This has become a really important communication and cultural development tool for the society. And so it's full of a lot of collective voices, as you'll hear in a minute, and directions because of it. The most important thing, of course, of any strategic plan is that it's founded on core values that the society defines for itself. And Sandra eloquently articulated many of those values that surround the way we like to work together as colleagues and the way we would like music education and as a profession to work around the world. So with that in mind, I will launch into how we all got started. I put the strategic plan link in the chat, so if you want to click there, you can actually open it and see where we ended up with the plan that was defined from 2020 to 2026. But I just want to take you back for a minute to 2018, which seems a long time ago. And some of you may have been there. We were in Baku, Azerbaijan, a very unusual destination at that time for ISME. As you know, it was, some of you know, the biannual conference was to be in Istanbul that year in Turkey, but because of the political unrest happening, it had to move quite late in the planning round and move to Baku, which was not without its controversies as a place to hold the conference. But we were determined, this is all pre-COVID, really determined that it was important to still have opportunities for us to come together. ISME's always been an important place for inclusiveness and a sense of belonging for members that can sometimes feel quite isolated in the work that they do around the world. So we persevered with it. But another important thing happened at that conference, and that was that we voted in as a society a brand new constitution and set of bylaws. Up until that time, we didn't have a society where one member, meaning you who are members in this room, have a vote in how your society operates. It was done via professional organizations from around the world who had a vote. So this was a big shift to one member, one vote. And in the launch of the new constitution and bylaws, we were given the mandate that ISME board of directors must be responsible for strategic planning and action to ensure the long-term health and success of the society. And so it asked for the inclusion of a strategic plan. And we decided at the time that because our presidencies are 2 years each and run over a 6-year cycle of president-elect, president, and past president, that 6 years was the right time frame to enable us to share a collective understanding of what members want over that president time. So the plan, of course, was to be operational, but also aspirational, to think about forward-looking directions, be grounded in the past, but have an eye onto the future. Well, then what happened, of course, is COVID struck the world. And although we made a lot of progress and we released the plan before COVID, it was a really different world that we came through and out of, including the first ever time that an ISME conference was canceled, which was to be the conference that I was president at in Helsinki in 2020. So that was a very difficult time for the society. But the piece coming out of it that was this plan was really important. Founded on our core values of networking, internationalization, and advocacy. And networking, of course, this international community, as we're doing here. Internationalization really focused on intercultural understanding, that sharing that we do together. And advocacy, promoting quality music learning opportunities for all people. And so taking that direction, we I really was determined actually at the time that we would create as fulsome a consultation process as is possible with people all over the world being members of ISME. So what we did is we engaged in a whole number of ways to go about this. We started with SWOT analyses, which were basically like SWOT with a C on the end better, where we look at the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the challenges we felt ISME was facing. And we did that throughout all the leadership and through the commissions and through the various ways in which ISME is structured. Okay, we started there. And then we went on to a consultation process around the world at all the regional conferences. So we had those starting off in Sweden, in Malmo, Sweden, with our EES, European ISME Regional Conference. We went on to PASME and the Pan-Africa ISME Regional Conference in Seychelles. We were in Latin America for the Pan-American ISME Regional Conference, and that was in Resistencia in Argentina. And when we say we, it was me, or in the case of Seychelles, Lee Higgins had that exciting opportunity. And then going off again, where I was also joined with BOA in Macau, China at the 12th Asia Pacific Symposium, ISME for Music Education Research, and the 6th ISME Regional Conference there. And then finally ending up in Turkey at the ISME Legacy Conference that was in Istanbul there. Oops, I tell a lie, there was one more. The last one, sorry, was the South Asia ISME Regional Conference in Kathmandu in Nepal, and that was in 2019. So a whole year of that. And then if that wasn't enough, all members had the opportunity to submit online also their feedback about what they'd like to see in the plan. And we basically, we structured it the best we could around those core values. How does ISME work to build and maintain a worldwide community of music educators? That was the networking piece. So think about these questions maybe yourself too as we go through. How are we doing that work? How can we foster respect for international and intercultural understandings and cooperation was the second question. And the third was the advocacy one. How can and does ISME promote access to quality music learning opportunities for all people? So with all of this in mind, we had a fabulous ISME executive at the time. On it was past President Lee Higgins, President-elect Emily Akudo, and two of our executive board members, which was, sorry, I'm just looking how I'm going to spell Smaro's name without butchering it, but Smaro Chrysostomou. I hope I did that justice, and Patrick Schmidt. So these will be names that many of you will recognize. So we locked ourselves away in California, actually, because we were there at the time for the NAMM conference, the Large American conference. So we were invited to the headquarters to do this work. And we had 60 pages of responses from those consultations. So if any of you have done qualitative research analyses, we had 60 pages of data to go through. So we did a thematic analysis. We had Post-it notes all over all the windows around the room, looking at themes, thinking about really listening to the voices of members, what they were telling us. And we were able to come up with a plan at the end of a long process that gave us 7 principles. And those are the 7 principles that have continued to guide our plan. So it'll probably be best if I also put these in the chat, but I'll just roughly say what they are, then I'll post them for you. So the 7 principles, first one was equity, diversity, and inclusion. The goal to ensure all members experience a sense of belonging, inclusion, fairness, and mutual respect. Second principle, sustainability, that we would pursue ecological, social, and economic sustainability through our activities and operations, and seek and share solutions with you, ISME members. Third was access. ISME would provide members and partners equitable access to opportunities within the organization. We would attempt and we would work to break down any barriers or constraints to that for our members. The fourth was reciprocity. ISME and its members have a responsibility to foster mutuality and beneficial comprehensive relationships that are created and equitably supported. Fifth was transparency. ISME engages in processes that are consultative and transparent. Sixth was collaboration. ISME recognizes the importance of collaboration to advance and amplify the missions and values of the society. And 7, the last was value and benefits, that our goal was to provide members with opportunities to enhance your participation within the music education profession, to be an all-season society, as Lee Higgins based his presidency on, to have opportunities like our coming together today. So thank you for listening and setting out that what we did. And I'd like to hand over now to Emily, who was the president-elect at the time the plan was released. Emily.
Thank you so much, Susie. I hope I am audible enough. And well, that's the usual Zoom question. But it's great to be here. I'm glad to see all the colleagues, and I really want to recognize who I call you the thought shapers of ISME. And this is heavily through whether you've been part of a commission or the regional conferences, because as Susie just mentioned, there was so much input from yourselves from those various areas into the framing, the wording also, and the shaping of the strategic plan. So I was officially the first to start the implementation. And I soon realized that 2 years can be a very short time, an extremely short time when you have plans to execute or to roll out. The advantage that I had was, as Susie just mentioned, I was part of the executive as president-elect then. And so I had opportunity to assimilate, to make part of my own existence, the thoughts and the inclinations that we were working towards. I could pick what I thought I could do over the 2 years. And all of these were based on those 3 values. And I'm glad Susie explained them so well. The question was how? So how would I, in 2 years, ensure that we embarked aggressively on networking, on internationalization, and on advocacy? Sorry about that. So we got started. We had to get some activities out. And the first that came without invitation and very unwelcome was COVID-19 that locked us up. And which meant that immediately after that, we needed to perhaps switch to survival mode. It was not going to be a party, but we could make lemonade out of the lemon that we had been provided with, that we had been served. So that survival was going to depend seriously on all those 3 values. And the networking took quite a significant chunk of what we were doing. And the first thing I did was, based on each of the values, I created a strategic objective. And it wasn't so hard because I took the explanation of that particular value as the strategic objective. And so I would then, picking on the priorities that are already actually stated out there in the strategic plan, I developed or articulated the targets for the biennium. And so under membership experience, we wanted to extend the Council of Professional Associations to cover institutions and corporations. And then we wanted to make sure that still under membership experience, but attached to as well networking, that these professional associations who are becoming partners of ISME, just a second, please. Sorry, I'm working from home, so I have had to expel someone from the house. All right. So based on that, engaging the members of these professional associations in diverse activities, despite our being locked up, to make sure that this happened, one of the initiatives was to create the membership committee. And I'm glad that Jody, who was tasked with giving it shape, etc., is now president-elect. And I can tell you she did a fantastic job. The other thing that we did is, again, extending the membership experience and the networking, was to ensure that during each of the regional conferences, ISME presence was pronounced in a different way. Remember, the regional conferences happened during the odd year. That when a regional conference happened, we had members of ISME taking up a slot to say something about ISME, to extend something, to work on, quote, professional development. And we were fortunate that we could communicate with the leaders of the regional conferences, and we shared with them what they thought would be important. And here we put together 3 of ISME's committees to deliver a program. We had the membership committee led by Jody. We had the advocacy committee led by Sandra, and we had the publications committee led by Gwen. And they put together a program And for each of those regional committees, they were able to take a session. And in that way, ISME was present during that ordeal, over and above the monthly newsletter, which I tried to shape in a way to just get us to know that we're still alive despite anything else that's going on. That was almost an aside. So what I did under networking, under membership experience, and under governance, just get to try and strengthen the relationships. And we articulated the resources that we needed. During the closing ceremony of the 2022 meeting, I was able to indicate what the achievements were. Our second value was internationalization. It still is internationalization. And I voiced the strategic objective as being to foster global intercultural understanding and cooperation among the world's music educators. That's actually the explanation, our explanation of what internationalization means for us. The biennium targets included professional development. I just spoke about it. We'd have workshops and symposia on strategies and values of diverse learning orientations in music education. We also still went for membership experience, and we had a very special focus on decolonization in all its shapes and sizes and meanings and understandings. Then, and again, still under internationalization, which is the second value, we had several achievements, sorry. The third value, advocacy. And friends, I believe we have realized that advocacy runs through everything that ISME does. The objective was to promote music education for people of all ages in all relevant situations throughout the world. A mouthful, in fact, bigger than a mouthful. When you bite that, you cannot chew. But we try to get some bite-sized chunks that we could deal with, beginning with communication. And we wanted to enhance and maintain our social media presence and activities so that we could support ISME's efforts. I'm sure you can see that it is really robust at the moment, thanks to Shri and Ryan and everybody in the office. Under partnership, the professional associations becoming partners with ISME, and now still in advocacy, under advocacy. So seeking and engaging advocacy partners that align with ISME's mission and values. Friends, that was important because sometimes the ways very vocal organizations verbalize their intentions may not quite resonate with the way we verbalize what we wanted to do. That was important. We also attempted to develop advocacy resources and narratives for those who attended the online conference, what should have been the Brisbane conference. You may remember that you saw several clips of children, of grown-ups, etc., talking about music education, and their experience. And we had some achievements and some shortfalls, but that was that. I hope I can leave it at that and leave the rest for any conversation that might come later. At this point, is it okay if I invite Bowa, who took over from myself, to continue the conversation? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Emily and Susie, for their wonderful introduction and as a background for my presidency from 2022 to 24. Now, first of all, when I was elected as the president, I really feel that it's an honor, but on the other hand, is a very heavy responsibility. It's a huge international society, and there are so many members. And especially when Susie has done a wonderful job, that 6-year plan has so many goals. We have different values, we have priorities. So after the presidency of Emily, I think I didn't think that I could achieve each and every priority or values, but just because 2 years is just very limited. So I was thinking to focus on some of the priorities or values that I think I could do something on that. To be honest, at the very beginning, I was not very sure whether I could really do it. Okay, but I was trying my best at the time. So my theme, as you know, it was advocacy for sustainability in music education. I think there are two keywords here: advocacy and sustainability, which are from the priorities and also from the values, etc. So first of all, according to my experience in ISME, um, we have been doing many things for advocacy. We have to talk, we talk to other people. We try to advocate music and music education to other different parties in the society, in the world. Okay. But maybe we have not very clear strategies for that. So my first goal, or my first thought is about how to improve our techniques or skills in advocate music and music education. So advocacy was my first thing that came to my mind. And the second is sustainability. The reason why I was thinking about sustainability is because, first of all, most of our members of ISME are from universities. They are academics, but of course there are also some graduate students. But at that time, graduate students were not too many, I would say. So, and actually, during the presidency of Emily, a new student chapter was founded in a very beginning stage. So I would like to continue that student chapter and try to encourage more students, more young people to join us. And actually, I was still thinking to include more teachers, but we just don't have so much time and resources to do that. So I think our future presidents will continue. But anyway, sustainability, not only about healthy finance, but also how to sustain our society with more younger generations joining us. So I was focusing on how to increase our membership. So these are two things that were in my main biennium theme. So as you may remember, in Helsinki, there were advocacy awards. I talked to one of the music company in Hong Kong to ask for their sponsorship to support this advocacy awards, and I try to make it to the whole world. That means through our 5 regional conferences, we spread the news, spread the message to all the music educators and their context and their society, communities. So I hope our music educators around the world can connect with all their background and so that they can spread out the message to value music and music education. And I trust our global colleagues. They have their creativity, they have their ideas and experiences to try to advocate music in their context. So I hope and I think these advocacy awards have done something to spread out this message. A bit unfortunately is that the company, the Parsons, actually after the COVID, a bit surprisingly, they are facing a difficult financial situation. So very surprising. During the COVID period, their sales of musical instruments was quite well. Okay, because many people are just staying at home and maybe playing instruments. But after the COVID, many people just come out and they found that there's a quite a great decreasing of demand of musical instruments. So they are facing quite a difficult situation now. So they have decided not to continue to support these awards. But I hope they can get back to their track and will continue to support us in the future. So I will continue to communicate with them. Anyway, I still think that these advocacy awards have tried to have helped us to spread the message that and to promote our creativity, how to advocate. We still think need to have some new strategies to advocate music so that we can achieve our goals. Okay. For sustainability, I try to encourage more postgraduate students to join our society. And according to the recent numbers, I think we have increased our postgraduate students as our membership. So of course, this the may not help a lot about our health financial situation because they pay less membership fee. But I think this is good for our future because I truly believe that all those graduate students, they will continue to be our members. They will find out the advantages that they can get from the society. But we need in our future leadership, we need to convey the message that they can develop themselves, and we have to do something to help to nurture the new generations so that they will stay in our society. One more thing is that I had another responsibility at that time because I need to celebrate of our 70th anniversary. I also did a similar seminar during our conference with our several past presidents to share our experiences as leaders in the ISME. I think this is good because at that, I still remember that symposium, there were many audiences and they are curious about how the experiences of being the president. And I hope there can be more members who would like to be our leadership in the future. Okay, this is also related to our sustainability issue. Okay, to be honest, being the president is quite a tough job, I think, and it demands the person to spend 6 years of time to really contribute to the society. So I really found that maybe it is difficult for members to really commit to this special position. So and now I'm the past president, and I'm responsible to be in the negotiating no in the nominating committee, and it might be a very tough job for me to make a nominations for our future. But anyway, I hope the previous jobs I have done can help a bit to develop our members who would like to contribute more to the society. So of course, during my biennium, I have not done all the things that I would like to do. So I still hope that I can get the baton to our next president, Patricia, to continue our ideals, our goals. Okay, so pass to you, Patricia.
Thank you, Boa, and thank you to all of you who are here because you all are very committed. I have had, as I'm sure you have, lovely, great experiences as ISME members, and many of you have served in leadership positions who have contributed to the growth and the development and the ongoing activities within ISME. So it is a great honor and pleasure to be now current president and trying to continue building based on the strategic plan, and I'm prepared for the next one, who will be join our collaboration, and I will be helping Jody in this process for the next biennium. I want to also thank Sandra and Shri also for helping us to organize this online cafe. The ongoing efforts from the Advocacy Standing Committee led by Sandra and now also Michael Chin. So it's very important to give continuity not only to the whole this long history of ISME, but also specifically to this strategic plan that was envisioned, and it has led us to continue working based on those common suggestions that came from this consultation that took place to build this document, very important document, and that, as Susie mentioned, is not a document that is there in a shelf, but a living document that reflects also the mission and the vision of ISME, not only for these 6 years, but that it goes on. Those priorities are still and will be always an ongoing work for ISME and for ISME community and also ISME leadership. In this big responsibility and working now after these great leaders that have already shared this process, Susie, Emily, and Boa. It's a challenge, as Boa said. It's a big challenge to be in this position, considering all the several things and activities that are going at the same time. I'm grateful because we have an amazing administrative team, so I feel very very supported by them, but of course, definitely for all the wisdom that the past presidents and new president-elect have provided, along with the executive committee that also includes David Hibbert and Brad Merrick and all the board members. So what are the aims within that scheme of the strategic plan? I developed that biennium plan based on that. The biennium theme is unity in music education, building bridges for all, and it reflects what we need for continuous collaboration and connection with the ISME global community, but also beyond our society. So that it is important to also resume that net. Oh, what happened? Hey, you listen to me? Okay, sorry, I don't know what happened. So about in a sense, not resuming, but it's assuming that communication relationship with many of our partners after the COVID that was a big challenge, and we're still working on overcoming those challenges. So that's. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm confused with the windows and what's coming here in my screen. Okay, I continue. So the issue is how to continue this and to strengthen our unity in what we do. Another important theme, starting from the theme, and we're working tirelessly to make this happen, is and as you know, the professional development priority. That's for me a key, as well as the other 8 seven priorities, but professional development and ongoing professional development has been important, and we're working on along with my dear Julie Valentine, who's around here as well. And we're working through providing additional professional development opportunities for ISME members, and that relates also to provide that membership experience that we're asking for as ISME members, and we have been asked in the leadership of ISME. So we will be announcing that very closely. The idea initially was to have a teacher chapter per se, or teacher forum, but that's developing beautifully to what will be a kind of center of institute. We have been, of course, informing the board and getting feedback and approval for this new development, and hopefully we will give you more details about it, and we will be able to launch this new initiative that also relates to those priorities, that is innovative initiatives and partnerships, and also to give visibility to what we do in the different committees, commissions, and SIGs, the special interest groups, in which we hope to involve and to get the collaboration that has be a key component in the ISME activities along its years of existence. So that's very important for us. We're working on that. What else we are working on? As you have seen, there's this new initiative of the podcast to have to give voices to experienced and colleagues and practitioners and researchers. It was a little late to continue with the online cafes, but I'm so glad now that we are back in track with it. There's a plan for all the following student chapter meetings as well to develop these capacities in new members, junior researchers, and students in master's and degree, doctoral degree programs. What else it has been happening in this biennium? We will be announcing as well the new activities in terms of grant opportunities that we will have, and we're working on those, on increasing the grants we will be providing to our ISME members. We are very grateful that we received an important donation from Dr. Marvin Greenberg, a very dear colleague from California, which will help to fund research projects related to early childhood music education, and they have been informed, and they will be working on this to provide these grant opportunities for members to focus on those on that specific area, and there will be others as well. So there's this new small group of people working on looking for more opportunities to increase our funding for to benefit our members. So if let me check what are all the other points we're working on. I think that's because the brief summary of the initiative we're working right now. In the next newsletter, you will find a survey in which we're aiming to know what are the professional development needs, current needs, and to focus on those, to provide the kind of training, continuous training for our members, and also trying to rely much more in technology to give access to engage many other colleagues from countries that might be in greater challenge to participating in our regional conferences and the world conferences. So that's what we're working on right now. And I'm so grateful that Jody and I working very closely to give continuity to these initiatives and those that will be in her next biennium as well. So thank you all, and I pass over to you, Jody, please.
Thank you, Patricia. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. And thank you so much for being here. It is a joy to look at the faces and names and see people with whom I've not yet been acquainted. I look forward to that opportunity. But I also see faces with whom I've shared my journey walking through ISME in my professional life. And so I'm grateful to see those faces. And I also see the faces of my predecessors and in the presidency who have been inspirations for me and certainly models as to how to get the job done. And I'm grateful to have served on Susie and Emily's board. And I just want to acknowledge the consistency, the grace and graciousness that Susie and Emily specifically have provided. I can't imagine what it's like to plan fully and then have a conference not happen, the disappointment. Emily's monthly newsletters that were bite-sized chunks of hope and consistency and inspiration. So thank you both. And to Bowa, his leadership as well. And Patricia, what a joy to work with you and certainly and Bowa as I'm preparing to think about the next 6-year plan. I came into this 6-year strategic plan, as Bowa mentioned, and Emily mentioned, as the chair of the membership committee, and then later spearheading, thinking about the student chapter. Not my idea by any means, but rather Susie O'Neill's and Lee Higgins and conversations that happened at Baku. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time, I suppose, to pick up what they already started and move it forward. And I'm immensely proud of that student chapter. So as we look forward, I mean, through reflection, this is a time of deep reflection. In many ways, it's a metaphor for our lives right now in this global world that we are living. And it's so different from when you think about how different the world is from when we sat down and thought about a 6-year plan, 6 years ago. Different needs and the same needs at the same time. So through reflection, I see the next 6-year strategic plan as a continuity of those principles, those values, those ideals, those priorities that have been already set forth, and that there have been immense chunks of work that have been given, efforts that have been given to each of those points. So continuity, but also an envisioning process, starting this cycle again. And by that, I mean to bring forth the transparency that Susie started in her presidency, transparency with the membership, the stakeholders, not just the members, but our partners, the board, commissioners, to see what they envision. What do they want? What do you want to continue as your International Society for Music Education within the framework of ISME's mission and vision statements? So some of the things that I've been thinking about, and please know this is just maybe a wish list, and I'm eager to hear your thoughts as you might take some time even today to think about where you might want your society. And when I say your society, this is not just a presidential something dictum. It is something that we all can get behind and work together. And it really is a lot of work. And that is not on one person, a president, but it is the society coming together to work on these ideals, so that it is our society, your society, our society. So some of the things that I've been thinking about that have, in a sense, weighed heavily on my heart, but I see glimmers of hope that Patricia has already mentioned. And that's the diversity, equity, and inclusion. I would like to see the equity, diversion, inclusion, perhaps in the letters reversed. Um, Patricia had mentioned the podcasts, the webinars, certainly Sandra hosting the cafes, as a strategy, a tool, not the only one, but a tool to think about those folks who can't sustain their relationship. Talk about sustainability. Boa talked about that. How do we sustain relationships within our society where even with reduced costs, the costs are still prohibitive? How do we engage people so that they can be part of something, belong to an international community, and yet not feel that there's a barrier for them? And I know that I've heard from several of you already about this as a main issue with belonging and engaging with ISME. I think that finances and sustainability is important, but I don't think it's the only. Maybe this is pie in the sky, but I don't think it need to be a barrier, and we're working on that. Patricia mentioned the generous donations. Our CEO, Ryan Zellner, has worked tirelessly to cultivate relationships with people who are in positions to give monies to the society, to fund scholarships, and the like. And I'm really excited and hope that initiative, and I'm confident that initiative could continue. I think we're in a state where we need to really think about how we as a society develop and maintain a culture of wellness and empathy through music. We're in a point of understanding certainly the medical, psychological benefits of music. We've known that, but I think there's more of a focus, a spotlight, certainly in our teachings and our research. And I wonder how we as a society might step into that area more intentionally. And again, that's a wonderment on my part. Technology, Patricia mentioned that. Certainly, how do we make seminars or portions of seminars, portions of conferences, the professional webinars, how do we provide mentoring opportunities with the use of technology? And that includes the social media. Ryan Zellner, our CEO, and Shri have been really keen on stepping up the social media platforms and ISME visibility. And that's been really terrific in terms of growing membership, engaging partners who wish to donate to ISME who are not ISME partners yet, but also the communication. So it's a marketing device as well. Boa mentioned financial sustainability. I think that to be mindful in terms of the monies that we are spending, in terms of the board, the exec, the commissions, taking a hard look, and I do mean a hard look at where we can potentially be more thoughtful about our spending and also the giving. This is a membership-driven society, so where can we plug the monies in to support our members? As Emily and the others have mentioned, we started the notion of the partnerships, the Council of Professional Associations, and we have institutional partners and corporate partners. Recently in the executive, we talked about defining, and we did work on defining those entities more specifically. We look forward to, I know Patricia has certainly started this, thinking about ways that we can really engage these folks actively, rather than just a name, oh, you're an ISME partner. What does that mean in terms of a reciprocal relationship where we can support the international community of professions, professional associations and institutions, but how can they also feed in and support what we do, our mission and vision as collaborators? I think that communication with our membership must be, in my opinion, something that we take a look at so that we figure out how to be transparent, how to communicate on a regular basis. What does that mean? Does it mean presidential town halls? Does it mean meetings within meetings? I don't know. But these are just some of the ideas that I've been thinking about, and I'm really eager to hear from you, our membership, what you see for our vision and mission. And so that's my offering. Thank you. Back over to you, Sandra.
I think
Or Susie, sorry.
that's okay. My pleasure. Thank you all so very, very much. A heartfelt thank you to all the presidents for your contributions and your ability to kind of flesh out for everyone today the different ways we've all taken up that golden thread, as I referred to it, through this work. I think that you set it up beautifully there, Jody, about it's over to you, members, and even if there are any non-members in the room, people who are just interested in what an international society can do for you and with you in partnership. You've heard a lot of, I would say, a lot of kind of values, principles, guiding ways in which we've been trying to achieve this. But the one thing I hope resonated with you all today is the intentionality of everyone who works in the senior leadership or in any part of the organization of ISME. The intention there is really strong to be able to deliver the very best for members and what it is that would help. It's a complicated space to work in, but let's see if we can open it up. It's difficult to talk about a plan, especially if you've only just seen it recently. But some of you in the room have been involved in parts of it. Some of you have been here and watched the evolution of ISME over the past 6 or 8 years now. It would be great just to hear your thoughts on, or just your reflections on where you see ISME as a society over time, or even today, or even into the future. I'm going to see a hand there. Alejandra.
Good morning here. Now, I just wanted to mention that I really appreciated the creation of the student chapter, and I think it made a difference. And I'm sure it can develop a lot more activities and stuff. But I think that made a real difference in ISME, as I knew it when I just entered the society. It was 2008, and I followed the activities that you had for students. I had some of my students involved. It's hard for our region because not many of the students handle English that much. So I just had to pick people who could follow a conversation in English, but they were so thankful and so enriched by the webinars they assisted. So I think that chapter made a difference. And if you're planning to have a teacher, a professional development chapter, I think that will also make a big difference. That's my opinion.
I thank you so much for sharing that. I think I'll ask Jody to maybe say a bit more about the student chapter. We had planned to launch it originally in 2020 in Helsinki conference that was cancelled, and the students of we had been inspired by the European Association, the EAS Society, and their student chapter. We had visited there, and we found them to be just doing extraordinary work at bringing students together, both for peer-to-peer support, but also a lot of mentoring opportunities. So I just wanted to lay that foundation that we really were hugely inspired by that, by a lot of good work that was already happening. Jody?
Yeah, thank you. Gabriele Schellenberger from Germany is part of the EAS, and she was very helpful in sharing ideas as to how we, ISME, might think of their student chapter. And I must say, Alejandra, thank you very much for your comment. I think 33%, Patricia, is that correct, of the ISME membership right now is of the student chapter,
Yeah.
Which is good news and financially an interesting challenge. On the other hand, I love the energy that comes from the students. Alejandra, could I have a follow-up question with you? You say that you saw a difference. What differences are you seeing, or did you notice within the society as a result of the student chapter engagement, if I may ask?
Yes, well, I think some students are a little afraid, to participate in a forum where you have all these big professionals and blah, blah, blah. And so I think the student chapter gave a space for people who don't, who are maybe, as I said, not very sure about participating in other kind of spaces. So it's a very good entrance door to learn about the society, to start participating in an international group, to don't have fear to ask things or to learn things from the very beginning. So I think it's very, very important in that sense. It gives confidence, right? Because you are in a group that people like yourself. And the way you conducted it was very caring and very, very nice, very warm. And I think that's important for the next person who takes care of it, to always give a warm feeling, like you are invited to ask things, to learn things from scratch, and to start participating your own way. That's what I
Thank
think.
you, Alejandra. And I will also say that, wow, that it really, their energy and their ideas really inspired me as shall I say, a more seasoned teacher. It's been wonderful. So thank you for that feedback.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to, if she's going to forgive me, put one of our colleagues in the room on the spot. Smaro, I'm looking at you, and the reason for that is, of course, you were part of the original team, the executive that did all the consultation work and the original plan. 6-year plan. But I think what I really wanted to ask you about is you've often told the story, and I found it really helpful, about how important ISME was to you when you found it, and how committed you've been to it as a result, because of the things that you feel it's contributed, in your career and your work. So could you say maybe some things about that, if you don't mind?
Thank you, Susie, for putting me on the spot, unprepared.
It's your life, though, so you probably know what happened.
Yeah, it's great to see you all, dear friends, and old friends and new friends. Yes, it's true. I've said the story many times, and I've included it in my personal statement when I was running for president as well. I was doing my PhD. ISME's office was next door to my office in Reading University, where I was doing my PhD. So I was really collaborating very closely with Liz Smith, who was the secretary back then, and my supervisor, who was part of ISME, the Music Education Research Center that was based on the University of Reading. So it was, for me, it was something of a revelation to be part of this international organization, to be able to meet like-minded people every 2 years. And I kept going every year, every 2 years, started attending MISTEC, and I've never left since, as my MISTEC sisters know it very well, that I can see them on the screen, Emily and Jody, and Elizabeth, of course, now. It helped me in many ways, personally and professionally. I have made friends for life, and that friends that I consider part of my family now. And I have met a lot of very important and inspiring colleagues, teachers, professors, researchers from around the world. And I am honored to call them my friends and close friends. And on the issue of advocacy that was also mentioned by Beauvoir, ISME has really been very helpful in the instance where, when in my country, we had to call on ISME to support us in our claim to sustain music teaching in secondary education when there was an educational reform, and they wanted to eliminate it from the the mandatory curriculum. And Margaret Barrett was the president then, and they wrote letters to the ministry. We made a lot of noise, and I think that it was very supportive, and very important to have the international community supporting our national cause. And that's why I think that ISME is very important, that it's something that we should keep in mind when every time we are asking ourselves, why am I doing this? Why are we doing this? We do it for us, but also for music education in our country. So
Yeah,
that's
or
my
in our communities, even like the local, meeting the global, as it's often described. Well, that was incredibly eloquent, Smaro, for being put on the spot, and really touching. I wonder if anyone else would like to share what's been of value to them in being part of ISME, or that they see value in the plan that we talked about today, the work that we're doing.
May I say a word?
Yes, please. Who's speaking?
Thank you. I think one of the
Emily, sorry.
reasons, thank you. One of the reasons why I love ISME so much is that I find ISME a very safe place. And I go back to 19 something, no, it was the year 2000, my probably second encounter with ISME, and I went to one of the commissions. I had a very fresh PhD thesis, and the bibliography showed up, almost all of it, and you could see all these people that I saw so many people whose works I had quoted, and my first instinct was, what if I have misinterpreted their theories, their thoughts? but they were so embracing, they were so warm, so accommodating, and so, I just felt like I was at home. And so here I am advocating for ISME, and I think I'll do that all along, because I don't think there is a space like this where we will have people from the whole globe talking about the same thing, but bringing so many perspectives to it. And I think therefore that is it the networking and internationalization and advocacy, all those three values that ISME holds so dear, I think they're very significant. And I hope that in our own works, wherever we are, in our music classrooms or in our music research, etc., that we can embrace this and make these part of how we handle, be it the classroom or the research space. ISME has been, and I think as Smaro put it, a really strong anchor for a lot of what we do. Thank you. I needed to share that.
Thank you. That was really very valuable to share. So just someone else might jump in. I'll ask Boa. Boa, I see you there. You've been a member of ISME for a very, very long time as well. And you have really helped, I think, bring along a lot of Chinese members over the years. That part of the world that was, I don't think, as connected to ISME until you became involved. Could you speak a bit about that work?
Okay.
What ISME's meant to you?
Yeah, thank you, Susie. First of all, when I was elected as the president-elect, well, many Chinese students, especially postgraduate students, they think that I was a model for them, because they would like to be known by the international society. They would like to step out from China. Although China is very big, but to a certain extent, they are closed to a certain extent. So they are very eager to go out to see the world. And since I get involved in ISME, they would like to go through to go to see the world through ISME. So this is my strategy. I always inform them how to get to the ISME, to see the people, to get connected with the international scholars, and in order to to improve themselves. So I think this is very helpful for them and to motivate them very successfully. So become a kind of personal model is that thing. So I would suggest that in our future presidents, please, you are the models of your country's postgraduate students. Okay, so please encourage them to join us to be international. It is always come out from my mouth too when I talk to them, because I always told them that the world is so big and there are so many different ideas in music education. And still, China is just a one single culture. They need to learn from others, learn from different cultures. So and also we can bring our culture to the world so that we can exchange our views. This is my strategy. So yeah, this is my strategy to help them to. And one thing is that we need to strengthen their confidence. Again, I think this is very similar in other countries. All those, as someone said before, I can't remember, those postgraduate students, when they enter into our society, when they face the big brothers, I said, big brothers and big sisters, the famous scholars, they, to a certain extent, they will feel a bit, a bit stressful. So we have to be very friendly and to encourage them to communicate with them. So I would ask our colleagues, if when you see the younger people in the conference, for example, please talk to them proactively, or ask them for their question, because they maybe for Chinese people only. Okay, they are a bit not so outgoing. They are more shy. So if we, as the more experienced people, proactively ask them for questions, they will welcome and they will be very eager to answer and to get communicated with you. So this is my idea. I'm not sure whether I've answered your question, Sudhi.
Oh, well, yes, that sharing was really valuable. Thank you so much. My heart goes out to any students, anyone actually who's feeling isolated in the work they do, particularly that can be felt by researchers who often can work very independently and don't have a point of connection. To be connected to an international community is an extraordinary thing to have through ISME, and to preserve it and to keep it. I really hold the value of it for that. Thank you. I saw Jody, thank you. Sorry, Jody, you moved on my screen from one position to another. There you are. Thank you.
You know, to Bowa's point, I'm looking directly at Glenn Neerman, who's in the center of my screen right now. And I'm thinking about, you know, how can we create a leadership space for the upcoming generation? You know, what might a leadership seminars look like? What might it be to harness the wisdom, the challenges, the celebrations that our ISME leadership, whether it's through commission leaders, whether it's through presidencies or board or whatever, you know, once they are serving, they go where? What do they do? How do they continue to engage with the society? So I wonder, as a safe space, a mentoring space, the next generation of leadership, I wonder if ISME might play an integral role in providing that, if you will, training, discussions, dialoguing for those students, those young professionals entering, who are, I mean, there was no way I was going to talk to people in my bibliography for my thesis, no way. I just wonder what role ISME might play in that.
Good question. Just pausing for a minute to see if any of our other colleagues joining us today would like to say something. What
Susie.
brought you here today? Oh, sorry. Can I just ask if any of the colleagues in the room who joined us today, what brought you to join the ISME Cafe today? Natasha?
Okay. Well, how often do you have an opportunity to have together 5 presidents? It's not often. So yeah, that would be a great opportunity. The other reason is because I have been involved for the last 4 years in the board, and I want to keep up learning on what's going on, and finding out if there are other ways to be involved. Of course, currently I am with Sandra in the advocacy committee for it's the 3rd year now. So I'm still part of this society, which for me has also been a transformative experience. And if I may say, it was back in 2002 when I went to Norway for my first conference. And I think that for a young researcher, I was a PhD student at that time, being in one of ISME conferences is like, it's the same thing for a child being in a playground. I was so excited about, it was my first international conference, and I was so excited about possibilities. Possibilities outside my little workplace and study place. So yeah, after 23 years, I still see and search for possibilities to become better, to connect with people. And as Maro said, I have also made very, very, very good friends. And
my husband keeps teasing me about the Finland conference, that I came back from the conference and I was talking about the conference like for 2 months, how wonderful time I had professionally and socially. So yeah, this is why I'm here, Susie.
I think that's so kind and honest of you, sharing that. It's personal, professional. It's so many things that it's hard to put it sometimes into words, but it really does describe, I think, very well, that ISME has been very important for many, many people, and and those of us that volunteer to our time, because these leadership roles are all voluntary. And extremely time consuming. You can see, if you came today to find out why we do it, that's why we do it, because there's a passion in us that has been ignited by the fact that this society is precious and fulfills something very important in many people's lives. And then you feel the responsibility to not only carry that on, but ensure, we use sustainability, but really just ensuring that we can keep it thriving into the future. So we thank you for that. And we've got Patricia with us now, who's in the driving seat, so to speak. And I think already making a lot of progress on that note. We just have a few minutes left. Patricia, would you like to jump in?
Yes, thank you so much. And it is great to listen to all of you, and particularly talking about the intercultural understanding and the challenges of being from different countries, of speaking different languages, and how it has been this safe space for all of us to grow professionally and personally. And yeah, it's something that we all value, I think. It takes a lot of time and energy, as Susie said. And it is important to remind ourselves that we are part of this community and we are able to contribute in different positions. And sometimes it is a challenge. It has been a challenge for me to be in this in leadership position, and it is not one person that has to carry the society. It is a group of wonderful people, and we are all. Many of you have been contributing, and despite the challenges of giving time to the society, but giving that time and energy and for others to grow as well. And I recall also Osmaro's statement also when we were nominated for this position, and I'm still trying to convince her, don't you want to take this position? Because it's tough. It's tough when you feel that responsibility, and sometimes you don't have that much time, but you have to rely on the commitment of others. And I'm helpful I'm thankful for that, and I invite you to continue leading the society, not only one person or one executive committee or one board of directors. We are all in the position to contribute. We are all having expertise that we are able to share to others through different perspectives as a researchers, as a practitioners. We have to expand our impact in other spaces as well. For music teachers that might not be able or not having the funds to participate in our in-person conferences, how to make them take advantage of all the expertise that we have as these members with more privileges than others. So I invite you to help others and to help the society to provide those opportunities. With a professional development and center, we're aiming to provide that space to rely also on the expertise to connect, build those bridges with our beloved music teachers in schools and in other educational contexts. So it is important to address that, and it is a priority that as society we need to address. We are here, we are music educators, but sometimes we are not those that are working with the kids, with elders, with younger. So we can and are able to give back to our profession.
Thank you,
And
Patricia.
we
Just
need
noticing
to,
that.
yeah.
So we're just noticing that
times.
I have another meeting to go to, as life does get in the way sometimes of something special. Natita, I think you closed off our meeting with the most beautiful comment. I think we have made the world a little smaller today in being here, and it really is extraordinary what work that you're doing. I thank everyone for setting up these cafes, and especially for joining us today. Glenn, Jimmy, Asadili, Wendy, Natita, what do you got? Susanna, seeing more people. Angeliki is on there, and hello. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if I missed you or didn't say your name, it's just because my eyesight is fading. Anyway, Sandra, you may want to finish off, but I'm really sorry. I do have to go. So heartfelt thank you. Love to you all. And over to Sandra to close the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you so much. Presidents, past presidents, thank you for joining us, and President-elect. It has been so refreshing to hear from you all. Like Natasha said, when do we ever get 5 presidents in the same technically virtual room together? So this has been so insightful and refreshing to be with you all. And just as a quick aside, I've put in a link there and she's followed as well. Please, it really helps if you can, literally 3 minutes of your time is all it takes just to inform us about, well, how relevant was today's session for you all, and to help the advocacy committee plan for future ISME cafes. We will have every other month a cafe, and the month in between, the even months, we have the student forum taking over with activities. So there's something happening every other month that you can look forward to. Please follow us on our socials. ISME is on Facebook as well as Instagram, if you're the Instagram kind of person, which I am. We also have the advocacy committee on Facebook. If you follow along, you can look at all our activities. And if you're not a member of ISME, my goodness, please join ISME. We have a parity pricing as well. Depending on where in the world you're joining from, you can make use of that and make use of all the wonderful newsletters and the opportunities to continue to connect and grow and serve together. This is our society, and we are so glad you came along today to be a part of this. Take care, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day for those of you that have time in the day left. God bless. Bye-bye.